Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nafika Yusina binti Khairul. My ID number is 23DLS21F1036 and today I will talk about introduction. This document report is about finding a professional characteristics, studies in sport and passion student in participant basketball, volleyball or netball sport that can be found among students in Polytechnic Nilai. With this survey, we were able to know that the ability of the person to be a player in a sport club at Polytechnic Nilai in the selection of basketball, volleyball and netball members. Next, I will talk about problem statement. The problem is not enough substitute for students who are to succeed in sport club who are able to achieve the levels of performance to become professional player in basketball, volleyballs and netballs at Polytechnic Nilai. Next, I will talk about objective of our research. First, objective is to find new member for sport club in Polytechnic Nilai. Second is to study whether students consume a healthy, balanced diet every time they eat their meals. And third is to find out the background involved in sport of each student, whether they eligible to join our sport club.
Next, I will explain about methodology. This methodology was conducted using the one-shot case study design. It is an experimental quantitative study that aims to identify the relationship between high component of Polytechnic Nilai student and the component of healthy eating habit and ways of managing daily life. The dependent variable DV is study was the total of students in Polytechnic Nilai. The dependent variable is the height of Polytechnic Nilai student. We have selected the population of this study for the total of students in Polytechnic Nilai who wish to participate or organize sport activities. While sampling, we only took students from 3 semesters only in Polytechnic Nilai, and the form of sampling is based on simple random method. The students are from semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, and the response we get from semester 1 is 12, semester 2 is 35, and semester 3 is 15. The total was 52 total sample. The only one method that we use is questionnaire. Questionnaire is the type research that popular form of research used among researchers because questionnaire can cover the wide range of the field and can be designed easily. Through questionnaire, information relating to respondent can be kept confidential. This allows the respondent to answer the question comfortably without feeling worried and anxious. The questionnaire questions are divided by two parts. The first part about background of the respondent among the questions contains the gender, lifestyle, activity and perform daily. The question is periodic, where it is easily for respondents to answer honestly. The questionnaire process was conducted with brief description from the author of the purpose of the questionnaire conduct is stating that all personal information is confidential. This question is not test and there are no true or false answers. Respondents were given time to respond. The questions are more focused on obtaining data on the background of the respondent and their reaction to the sport and leisure activity. This question is distributed through the Google form. Sample question from form is Appendix A. We took only 4 days to collect this data and the total is 52 respondents who have answered the question that we provide.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Aliatuna Sofia. My matrix number is 23DLS21F1062. Today, I will explain about histogram and polygon frequency. The graph above shows the histogram, which is blue, and polygon frequency, which is red, for students high in Polytechnic Nilai. To make the first histogram graph, we need class boundaries and frequency. Class boundaries are obtained from the lower limit of first class, which is 148 minus 0.5 and become 147.5, and the upper limit for first class is 153, which is added by 0.5, then become 153.5. Then the first class boundaries is 147.5 to 153.5. To make the next class boundaries, we take the upper boundaries of first class, which is 153.5, and added 0.5 to upper limit of second class, i.e. 159. The total will be 159.5. Then the second class boundaries is 153.5 to 159.5. For the next boundaries class, just need to follow the step described earlier. Next is to create and thicken the axis where a vertical exists. We label as frequency, starting with 0 and ending with 18, while the horizontal axis we label as class boundaries, starting from 141.5 to 147.5 and end with 189.5 to 199.5. After that, we draw a bar, which is a blue histogram starting with frequency 8 and 147.5 to 153.5 for class boundaries. The frequency for the next data increased from 8 to 11 with class boundaries 153.5 to 159.5. The next frequency increased from 11 to 17 with class boundaries 159.5 to 169.5. This frequency is the highest. The frequency starts to decrease from 17 to 6 with class boundaries 165.5 to 171.5. The next frequency decreased from 6 to 5 with class boundaries 171.5 to 177.5. The next frequency decreased from 5 to 2 with class boundaries 177.5 to 183.5. Last frequency decreased from 2 to 1 with class boundaries 183.5 to 189.5. The red line is the polygon frequency for student highest in Polytechnic Nilai. The value obtained from the midpoint. To make the polygon frequency, we connect the small dot that we have been plotted to from the polygon frequency line, starting with frequency 0 and class boundaries 141.5 to 147.5. Next, we found the frequency line increase from 0 to 8 with class boundaries 141.5 to 147.5. The polygon frequency for the next data increased from 8 to 11 with class boundaries 153.5 to 159.5. The next polygon frequency increased from 11 to 17 with class boundaries 159.5 to 169.5. The frequency of this polygon is the highest frequency. The polygon frequencies start to decrease from 17 to 6 with class boundaries 165.5 to 171.5. The frequency of the next polygon decreased from 6 to 5 with class boundaries 171.5 to 177.5. The next polygon frequency decreased from 5 to 2 with class boundaries 177.5 to 183.5. Polygon frequency decreased from 2 to 1 with class boundaries 183.5 to 189.5. Last polygon frequency decreased from 1 to 0 with class boundaries 189.5 to 199.5. The red line is the polygon frequency for student highest in Polytechnic nilai, the value obtained from the midpoint. To make the polygon frequency, we connect the small dot that we have been plotted to from the polygon frequency line starting with frequency 0 and class boundaries 141.5 to 147.5. Next, we found the frequency line increase from 0 to 8 with class boundaries 141.5 to 147.5. The polygon frequency for the next data increased from 8 to 11 with class boundaries 153.5 to 159.5. The next polygon frequency increased from 11 to 17 with class boundaries 159.5 to 169.5. The frequency of this polygon is the highest frequency. The polygon frequencies start to decrease from 17 to 6 with class boundaries 165.5 to 171.5. The frequency of the next polygon decreased from 6 to 5 with class boundaries 171.5 to 177.5. The next polygon frequency decreased from 5 to 2 with class boundaries 177.5 to 183.5. Polygon frequency decreased from 2 to 1 with class boundaries 183.5 to 189.5. Last polygon frequency decreased from 1 to 0 with class boundaries 189.5 to 199.5.
First question is, have you ever participated in basketball, volleyball and netball sport competition? Second question is, how many hours you sleep a day? Third question is, how many times you exercise in? Question number 4 is, do your family genetic affecting your height? 5. Next question is question number 5. Height increase after puberty? Next is question number 6. Do you take a healthy diet every day?
Next question is number 7. Do you consume a lot of fat?
Next question is, do you like eat eggs? From the question, there are 30 respondents out of 50 to answer often, 10 respondents out of 50 to answer not often, and lastly, 12 respondents out of 25 answer rarely. Next question, how often you eat fast food? There are 5 respondents answer often, and 35 respondents answer not often, and 12 respondents answer rarely. And next question, how often you eat junk food? 10 out of 25 respondents answer often, and 9 out of 52 respondents answer not often, and the balance of 33 respondents answer rarely. And next question, how often do you drink soft drink? There are 11 respondents often answer often, and then followed by 70 respondents answer not often, and the highest respondent for rarely is 22, and the minimum respondent for never is 2. Next, under the healthy diet is, do you consume vegetable in every meal? For the question, the higher respondents are often, which 29 respondents, followed by rarely, which 40 respondents. Next, there are several respondents answer not often, and lastly, which is the minimum respondent for never, is 2 respondents.
The purpose of conducting this research is to find athletes for basketball, volleyball, and netball to be backup athletes for Polytechnic Nilai. Athletes are divided into 2, which are skilled athlete or professional, and less skilled athlete, amateur or unpaid. An athlete may be professional or amateur status. Secondly, the height of a player is important in this sport because it gives facilities or bonuses to them to score goals to get points, compared to those who are short who must work harder to score goals, because the goal itself has a higher height than themselves. This does not mean that the group that has a higher height than the low group will always win, because it is not only height that is the winning factor for this sport. We found that Polytechnic Nilai students do not trust supplements that can increase their height, 43 responded, because the high majority of Polytechnic Nilai students are influenced by their family genetic, which is 90%. Genetic factors are indeed an important factor in height growth, but not the main factor. While the nutritional factor is one of the key to be athlete for this sport, because physical performance can be improved through good nutrition. For example, an increase in carbohydrate intake before and during training or competition can improve the quality of training or competition of athletes. Athletes will be able to train longer and slow down the feeling of fatigue during training or competition.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Balkis binti Khairul Izwan. My matric number is 23DLS21F1010, and today I would like to explain the recommendations how to increase potential professionals' performance. The first one is the coach for the clubs should enhance the skill by giving workouts that are designed to increase their speed, agility, and quickness. The second one is provide a complete training facilities. With indoor stadium, training could be carried out without affected by the weather. The third one is the government should require the coaches that expertise in sports science. Sports science designed to improve the performance of the athletes while reducing the risk of injury. Lastly, giving incentive that are not excessive also improve the athlete performance. Financial intensive will encourage athletes to focus on sports because they do not have to worry about their future. However, excessive monetary incentive until athletes become millionaires will cause athletes to live luxurious life and lost their fighting spirit.
To conclude the research, to find the characteristic of potential professional player needed as a reserve player. The characteristic needed such as height, the experience playing in basketball, volleyball, and netball, take healthy diet every day, how many times they exercise in a week, and more. From the survey, there are 32 respondents that have an experience playing in basketball, volleyball, and netball. It is the main characteristic needed because the training sessions would be so much easier and do not take so many times to train new members since they have experience in playing the sports. Not only that, in this survey, we also know that the most of the respondents have a good muscle and energy from the times of the exercise in a week. There are only 22 respondents that do not exercise in a week, and the total respondents that exercise in a week is 30. The more times taken to exercise, more muscle can be built, which is needed to improve the player's performance during the game. This research helped us to find the best potential professional players.